And it's time to make the simplified graphical version of this character. So we have this foundation to start with that I kind of add a little bit more detail than we'd want. So we have the bipedal, this in this case male humanoid, and we get the head heights, we get the registration marks, and we went through and did like some other details for the eyes, nose, mouth. That's just to kind of show you how to set up one of these. Now, to make the actual character, you just need another piece of tracing paper with your registration marks, your vertical key line, and the floor very clear. And now we can start actually making our character design. So I'm going to stick with the head heights, but I'm going to change the proportions of the body to however we see fit. Okay, so uh, let's go ahead and bring this down a little bit, center. So I'm going to stick with, let's go, let's have purple this time. Here we go, a little darker. And I'm just going to do my egg shape for the head briefly. And I might give them, let's give them nice big ears, something fun, cartoony. So I think exaggerating the features, getting away from the anatomy I had earlier, that's my goal here. I can also play with the shape, overall shape of the head. So I kind of give them like some wider, broader cheeks down here. Maybe shrink the skull, give them like a smaller skull, and the eyes. Be careful, don't do any like basic anatomy errors, like putting the eyes up in the forehead. Like you really be, if you know your anatomy well and you're being specific about it, that can work. Um, so yeah, let's do like a smaller little button nose here, and we'll give him like um, I think I'm channeling Oscar the Grouch all of a sudden. What I'm channeling. There we go. And his neck was kind of thick before. Let's go with a little bit thinner neck. And now you can see I have this head started, but as long as I stay within the ground here, I'm pretty okay. So let's go ahead and I usually like to go nice and fluid with my stroke. So you can ghost your stroke stroke. So ghosting means kind of doing the stroke before touching the paper. And that is a really good way to avoid going scratch, 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 scratch. So try to avoid scratchy lines when you're doing this. And let's just play with the proportions here. I can see the graph paper underneath is extremely helpful. So I'm going to give them a little bit broader shoulders, and I'm going to go nice long strokes down here, and trying to make it pretty darn close from the get-go. And I'm going to also expand maybe the size of his hands. So see, this guy's going to have longer arms than the last one did. So I'm just kind of doing the palm there. See what I have. Very simple so far. And go down here, and we'll fill in do some like small. So you want to still want to have really basic spherical shapes in here for your character, right? Don't want to. I don't want to get um, crazy with the anatomy, like was my habit, which you saw when I first did this. I had several of you ask questions like, "Hey, is you want that kind of anatomy? Why'd you draw it that way?" I was like, "Oh, well, it's kind of just what I do unconsciously sometimes." So you're going to have your unconscious designs that you kind of would normally um, trickle into your work. So for this one, try and get outside yourself a little. Try and do something, very Aardman, Wallace and Gromedy, Robot Chicken-ish, and maybe we'll give him a bit of a belly. There we go. So I'm just kind of playing with these larger shapes that are going to give me some more cushion and get rid of some of the anatomy. So I'll do the leg, do that here, and again the feet at the bottom. Whoops, off camera, didn't I? And down here at the feet. Double checking your registration marks are lined up. They're going to shift a little unless you put extra tape on there. And there we go. So we'll give them some good sized feet. So exaggerate your feet a little bit to make life easier. You could also exaggerate the hands a little bit to make it easier to build the hands. Because when you get really tiny, it becomes really a lot more difficult. There's a perfect kind of sweet spot in size we're shooting for this puppet. There we go. And then I can bring the legs up here. And looks like I might have bow-legged him without accident. That's okay. And then for the hands, I'm going to do the same. We'll stick with the palms forward. Oh, I totally missed. Still that size of them. So yeah, it should be coming down way in here. Okay, there we go. So yeah, graph paper, our friend. And the reason we're using the colored pencils, we get to search the shapes out a little bit. We're not tied to anything concrete yet. Still, it gives us freedom to explore, and push around. So there we go. So I'm going to make bigger hands, palm, and then remember there's an arc that goes there from the middle finger is the biggest one. So we'll go to the key line here and go out the middle of the palm to the middle finger, palm to middle finger. And this time I'm going to give the finger a little bit of thickness. I was just trying to draw sticks before, and then the pointer finger will come in a little bit. And again, I'm counting my squares, making sure the two sides are roughly even. And then again, I kind of curve back pretty quickly here from the middle finger to the ring finger, and then lastly down at the end there to the pinky. Then there's a little arc to them. Make sure you're not doing any perfectly straight, stiff cigar, as we call them. You don't want to do cigar fingers, accidentally at least. Unless you're making a cigar puppet named Smokey. Now, I think I just screwed up and did his palms forward, so I'm going to just have to roll with that. It's okay. We mentioned before, either way is fine, so yeah, I did. I boofed. That's okay though. Just do the angle the other way. It's going to go back towards the thumb. There we go. So you can see real time me making a mistake. No. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of thought, thinking goes into this. A lot of people think when someone's drawing and they're quiet, they're not thinking. There's a lot of intentional, unintentional thinking goes on. This type of now I could always redraw the hands back forward if I need to, but I'm gonna leave that for now. And get rid of the graph paper behind. You can see what we're left with. And at this stage, I'm going to maybe refine some of these shapes. So I'm going to take this off, just using this kind of soft release painter's tape. I think just any soft release tape though you should be okay with using that. And we'll come back here and do the side view in a moment. Here's a front view. Let's see if that helps at all. Not really. We're good. Okay, and I can always, it's pretty good about not leaving adhesive residue. Is one of the reasons why I like it. So, but then one of the nice things about having a paper on tablet is that it won't kind of buckle and move around on you. So sometimes if you're doing these quick gesture type strokes, you want to tape your paper back down again so you're not making any mistakes. So let's focus on the face here for just a moment and I don't have the luxury of the graph paper anymore, so I'm going to um, make sure I'm a little more careful. And if I need to, I can pull out my um, measuring triangle or whatever kind of ruler you have handy and make sure that I'm sticking this character saw sticking to the symmetry that I wanted on there. So yeah, so now I can kind of explore a little more, and we'll do a little bit broader nose, and then maybe I do want to bring his mouth down. Maybe let's get rid of the angry guy. Let's make him more of a hey. Let's soften up the features a little bit. Maybe make him a smile instead of a frown. Turn that frown upside down. I just expanded the space between the nose and the mouth, so I brought the mouth down a little bit. There we go. You can see what a huge difference that makes. So I'm just playing with the basic features of the face. Okay. And keep these little simple oval eyes. And as I define these a little bit more, um, you'll see that they'll start popping off the page a little bit. Camera. And when we're done, we'll ink it too. So I'm not going to do any actual nostrils. That's another simplification. So I think simplifying the nose. You can see the nose used for like the noses in Book of Life. It's kind of interesting, has a stop motion look to it, even though it's CG. They definitely were channeling their stop motion desire. I think they want to do it, but oh, the studio says it costs too much. It's not profitable enough. So that's the main reason why. That's why I'm excited to see a lot of these techniques, 3D printing, virtual production, allow us to make this stuff without costing an arm and a leg. And then, yeah, I'll stick to a little bit smaller head size, maybe a little more pointy on top. There you go. And I just don't want to change the top of the skull to the chin size. That's what I'd kind of done earlier. And then come back. I'm just switching between my blue and red pencils here. As I like a line, I'm gonna define it a bit more, and then when I get to ink it, it'll be much easier to solve. We all love doing the face, I think. So doing the face first is okay. Maybe you'll have a little bit of a chin. So if I start to add too much detail, I'll kind of stop myself. I'll try to stop. So hopefully you all uh, don't struggle too badly, but it's okay. Just like taking away and making it simpler will be an exercise that we all kind of endeavor. Some of you have no problem with. Some of you love doing really simple graphical. You know, those of you like the Sanrio, Tokidoki, one of those bobblehead toys. I'm totally blanking. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so then they have the neck here. So you give them a bit more of a neck. It's the other thing I was trying to do. And I almost can't quite see if I got the neck off. Yeah, it's a little bit. So I wanted to go with this inner line here, not the outer line. That one. And so right away, if you know you're getting confused, just like erase away. Okay, and we'll just kind of flow into the shoulders. And his shoulders got a little wide. So I'm going to bring those in just a little bit, like that, and then maybe cut those giant deltoids off. I don't really like how that turned out. I think I was playing with some shapes and you know, and I can't believe I did the palms forward or palms backward, I should say. Well, I meant to do it the other way. I might fix that as I'm roughing this in. So remember, you want the armpit still. You want the armpit to come up and underneath, and then you want the back side of the latimus still there. And then I'm gonna give them my pencil might be running out. There we go. Another pencil. You can still want to put a tiny bit. And maybe he's a little more slender. Maybe he's not quite so bulbous. Same thing, double check my measurements again. Looks good. Looks good. And I just go off of, I pick a solid inch or whatever centimeter working on and just kind of check the two sides and make sure that they're really close, if not perfect. Yeah, see where that's kind of come out. Go back and forth a little bit. All right, so let's go maybe a little faster here. There's another stop motion had like this huge gap between the legs. I think it might have been one of the Wendell puppets or that one spoof for NPR. Get to name that other show. Okay, that's a 1 1/4, and that's going to be 1 1/4, and it's going to be 1 1/4. So right there, I'm just making really sure that, oops, off camera again. Um, there we go. And then off here, and then maybe, I think I went out wider there than over here. Just double checking. It's 1 1/4. Yep, definitely should be right there. Should be coming in. Oh, so making my little adjustment, double checking the two sides are indeed symmetrical. And if they're not perfect, make sure they're real close. Yeah, I was thinking like, it'd be fun to do like a little puppet of yourself version. I think maybe if I were bald, but whatever you want to make this puppet into, so fun. There we go, a little faster, and here. I'm not 100% sure these inner arms are correct. Yeah, I do miss that graph paper, but I had to get it out of my way. Because to do an arc, you want to straight line and then arc, which are ulnar radiosity. That's the ulnar button. That's this. They do this. So I usually rotate my paper, and you'll see animators. You see a lot of they'll have the animation tables, and they'll rotate around a lot. And same thing in Photoshop. I'll use the I think it's R button, constantly rotating my canvas back and forth and getting it into the right angle for myself and my arm to be comfortable. So you want to get a comfortable arc where you're not going off track. There, go a little faster. So let's just get this whole thing roughed in and call it done. Get in there. Come around the sides here. Whatever eraser you got should be fine. It comes off pretty easy. At least the wax stencil does. Yeah, super fast to use the electric one. Okay. Redoing some of these, and I don't quite want to ink it yet. I want to do that in its own step by itself. So let's just get you all to this phase, and then if we need to make blue, if we need to make, let's see how that looks. Still looks any different. Yeah, it kind of washes it out with just pure tracing paper a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Go ahead and unplug it, for that matter. It's kind of plain. Hopefully each of you get to do something a little more creative than what I'm doing here. I suppose now that I feel like I'm done, I can maybe push this design a little bit into something more fun. And maybe when we do the clothes and the costume, inspiration will strike. I still want to define that nape of the neck and collarbone, just enough to remember that it's there, even if he's not going to have the actual anatomy. It's in there. Yeah, and we use the eraser like a brush, especially digitally, so you can really carve away and do a lot of shaping with both your line look and silhouette with your eraser. So be shy, do that. I think through this process, his legs got a little more bow-legged than I would have liked. So you know what? Let's run with it. Let's make him a super bow-legged. I'll make him a cowboy. There we go. Who's bow-legged is how cowboys are. And riding bulls and horses. Horses and bulls, allegedly. There we go. Okay. Fingers, yeah. So we did the the inside of the palm, back side of the hand, excuse me. Get these out of my way as I'm spinning around a lot now, so definitely suggest having your space clear. You can spin your drawings quickly. So I might bring the fingers out a little bit at this phase. Do what's called the finger spread. We do that in 3D, digital 3D as well. And we do the finger spread. There's a finger spread and a finger curl controller for your digital 3D for a couple of you taking classes with me also, as you're doing we're also taking one of my other classes, but it's in digital 3D, so you're learning Maya, right? So there we go. So you're welcome to change these into an image plane 3D model sheet for Maya as well. There we go. And then let's kind of bring this here. So back a little too far from the palm right there. I would have wanted. Yeah, too far back. It comes off, it hinges off of the wrist, right? But I want to make sure that they're the same here. And I might have to measure quick where that knuckle is. So when you're in doubt, stop for a second and make sure. Don't be lazy in the measurements. It will definitely come back to haunt you for sure. Go this way with it. Much more comfortable for me. At least I'm looking at it from this direction. And kind of round these fingers off just a little bit. And I could just scan this and I could flip the hands around too. So, or I could just redraw them. So again, this finger comes in ever so slightly. Same thing for these. Let's make 100% sure that we're not going off the rails here. Yeah, going way too far. His knuckle. There should be a nice curve here. And I have in digital 3D, I always do the palm sideways from the front view and then flat from the top view and do them separately, do a top down view for the hands. So, but for stop motion, which is better because then the arms can shift because if you're this way, you have 90 degrees this way or 90 degrees back, right? So you're like in a middle neutral position. But if you start off already this way, you can't go much farther that way and you have to go all the way 180 the other way. And so this is actually better positioning. But if you want to make a mold, a casting of this has to be or should be have the hands laid out kind of flat with the body, so that way it's easier to make the mold. And we'll take a look at some of the mold making videos a little bit later. Okay, there we go. It's looking all right. Get that in a little bit more. It really ends there. Okay. So yeah, a little TLC there on the hands. Probably use even more refinement. Continue and bring these to class, and we can make some adjustments, final decisions. So don't make it too detailed. Don't push too hard. Don't carve. Don't scratch your paper really hardcore just yet until you're until we've looked at it and made final decisions. Then we'll ink it. Get rid of that too. Then. Not needed anymore. And I need to be a little bit softer with this. Get the big fatty. Mm-hmm. There we go. All right. It's a simple front view character, not too much anatomical detail. He's got hands, he's got feet. I don't know if I'm going to give him toes or not. Probably just put boots are always fun. But yeah, let's move on and do the side view.